What's up guys, LeopoldTheBrave here, and it's about time to come up with more story theories for It's About Time. You see, lately I've been seeing a lot of leaks and rumors about how this game is a lot more story-focused and story-oriented, and how there was a lot more thought put into the plot this time around. Like how there'd even be a focus on fixing up plot holes. I didn't even know Crash Bandicoot had plot holes, just unanswered questions. However, leaks and rumors are just leaks and rumors, and could be completely false, with the game being just a simple get from point A to point B adventure, with no real deeper meaning or character development or anything. But with the state of play presentation emphasizing that they made sure to give Coco a more prominent role in the story, it lets me know that they are focusing on the story a bit more this time around. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. Either way though, I have some questions that I want answered, so here they are. The first question I'd like to see answered are the origins of the masks. Where did they come from, and how did they come to be? In the original trilogy, you didn't really have to question it because Aku Aku and Uka Uka were the only ones. You just saw them as the embodiment of light and darkness. Nothing more, nothing less. But then we get to Crash Bash, and suddenly they can't fight each other because the ancients wouldn't allow it. Who are these ancients? The quantum masks? And why won't they let Aku Aku and Uka Uka fight? And then we got the elementals, and Velo has a mask somehow. So I'd just like to know where they all came from and what their ranks and power are. I actually low-key really like that Aku Aku and Uka Uka aren't the most powerful masks out there. It allows the stakes to be raised in the future for better and stronger villains. And it also means Aku Aku and Uka Uka really aren't representations of light and darkness. They're just bickering brothers using Crash and Cortex's pawns to continue their petty feud, which I find really interesting as a story, and hopefully by the end they realize all this fighting is wrong. So I'd love to see Aku Aku and Uka Uka with their tribe before they were all masks, how they got turned into masks, and how all these masks know each other and have dominion over each other, yada yada yada. What are the rules? What are the origins? I need to know it all. The next question I'd like answered is if my theory on the Evolvo Ray is correct or not. For those who don't know, I made a theory video a while back discussing the mutants of Crash Bandicoot, or the anthropomorphic characters. Previously, it was assumed that characters like Crash, Ripperoo, and Koala Kong were all literal, regular animals, like a regular Bandicoot down on all fours, a tiny little koala bear, yada yada yada, before Cortex mutated them with the Evolvo Ray. However, I theorized that the characters were already anthropomorphic and sentient, standing on two legs and talking and everything. And that all the Evolvo Ray did was enhance speed and strength. And I theorized this because we have characters like Pasadena, Chicken Stew, Tana, the Nitro Squad, Viscount, etc. Cortex couldn't have created and mutated every single last one of them. They had to have existed first as they are. Heck, if you go back and look at Crash 1's opening cutscene, you'll see Crash already anthropomorphic and spread out on the table before Cortex zaps him with the Evolvo Ray and then lifts him up in the chair into the Cortex Vortex, which fails at washing his brain. It's also the same in the Insane Trilogy. Plus we see Tana there already anthropomorphic. In fact, the whole point of the game is to save her before she gets experimented on too. So to me, it seems pretty clear and obvious that the Crash characters were never really realistic animals or anything. They've always been Looney Tunes-esque bipedal anthropomorphic characters, and that the Evolvo Ray didn't do anything to cause that. They've just always been that way, and the Evolvo Ray was simply meant to make them strong enough to serve in Cortex's army. So I'd like Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time to maybe give some clarity on the whole mutation process and the origins of our heroes. Maybe there's a level or world that takes place before the events of the first game. The last question I'd like answered are the remaining details on Cortex's origins. Basically a lot of origin questions today. The mask's origins, our hero's origins, and now Cortex. But the funny thing is, we actually already know lots about Cortex's backstory. I'm just hoping we get the remaining details. For those who don't know, Cortex was the odd one out in a family of super dedicated circus clowns. Supposedly he was even born right in the middle of a show. Despite literally being born as a clown though, Cortex loathed his lineage and would often get teased by his own family for being different. He was teased by other circus performers too. In fact, they're even the ones that gave him his giant N on his forehead, which supposedly stands for nerd. However, out of nowhere, a freak accident explosion destroyed his entire family, with the exception of a potential sibling that would later go on to have Nina, Cortex's daughter or niece. But the funny thing about all this is that you'd never know any of it without looking in the original game's manuals or checking out behind the scenes stuff. There's also tons of unseen backstory of Cortex, Engine, and Embryo at Madame Amberly's Academy of Evil that was cut from Twinsanity and its cancelled sequel. So I think with Crash 4 not only involving time travel, but also having Cortex in a major playable role again, it's the perfect opportunity to dive right back into that backstory and finally have it represented in a game. So those are all the questions that I want to see answered in Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, but overall I'll be excited with whatever we get. I'm just happy that we're finally going to be getting a brand new Crash story after all this time. But what about you guys? What are some questions you'd like to see answered in Crash Bandicoot 4? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. Leopold the Brave, out.